So I met my wife Hannah in 2009 while in attendance at UCLA. We were both in the midst our junior years at the time. After being introduced through mutual friends, it was clear that we were both into each other. Hannah was in a relationship at the time with a guy she had known since high school, and I was fresh off a year-long relationship that had amicably come to an end due to a mutual decline in interest. It was pretty casual, so it really wasn't a big deal. We're still friends today, and we blaze together on the regular. From the first time we met, we started hanging out, in groups of our friends and just the two of us. For a couple months, we were really just friends doing what friends do. We'd go see shows, hit up the beach, go to cannabis expos, whatever you know. It was all good and all fun at the time. About 3 months after we had first met, we were hanging out on my rooftop with a few of our friends, enjoying some beers and passing bowls around. It was a solid time for sure. Long story short, we hooked up. She sucked my dick, didn't fuck, and she slept over. The next morning, I let her know that what had happened was not cool, because she already had a dude. I felt like an ass because I let her suck me off knowing she was dating this dude. Anyhow, jump ahead 2 more months. She breaks it off with her dude, and we start hanging out even more. At this point, we are still not together yet, but we were chilling pretty much all the time. One day I'm hanging out with a kind of friend. We were cool, but not super close or anything, and this girl he was into. I get a call from Hannah inviting us all to come kick it at her place. When we got there, we all took shots and hung out for a bit before Hannah and I went upstairs and started hooking up. We were interrupted by Sarah, my buds girl downstairs, dropping and shattering a bottle of wine. So we went and helped them clean up. After we had soaked up the wine and the floor was once again clean, my friend asked to use the bathroom. Hannah directed him upstairs because the downstairs bathroom was a temporary dog kennel for 3 labs Hannah was looking after for some friends. For a while, Hannah, Sarah, and I sat around drinking beer and talking about random shit. I had honestly forgot that Chris, my friend, was there. At this point, it's probably 2 a.m. and Hannah said she was going to lay down and asked me if I wanted to join her. I told her yeah, and that I'd meet her up there once I finished my beer and convo with Sarah. 20 or so minutes go by, and I realize I left my phone up in Hannah's room. I ran upstairs to grab it real quick, and once I walked into Hannah's room, I saw she was sucking Chris's dick. I just grabbed my phone and went back downstairs. Sarah and I ended up falling asleep on the sofa. That was that I didn't bring it up to her, and she didn't bring it up to me. Weeks passed, and we kept chilling and getting closer until we finally started dating. A few years go by, and we eventually get married in 2013. Since then, life has been dope. I landed a lucrative contract with a label and started producing for some rather big-name artists. We live in a $2.5 million dream home in the Bay Area with our 16-month-old son. Life has been good recently, except for the fact I'm traveling frequently for my job. I have to fly all around the country on, at the very least, a bi-weekly basis, if not weekly, for months at a time. So this past December, I signed a deal to produce a record for an artist out of the Atlanta area. Since about 2 weeks into the month of January, I've been flying to Atlanta every Monday morning and flying back home on Thursdays to spend the weekend back home. Lately, when I've come home, I'll notice little things that will set off red flags in my mind. For example, a case of red wine in the wine cellar. Hannah hates red wine. Old prepaid burner phones in the trash with their batteries removed. A box which held a bottle of lube in the recycling bin. My wife's accounts on the computer have all been set to password protect, and I also saw she had purchased new lingerie which was in her closet, but she had not debuted them for me yet. After a couple weeks of sketching the fuck out, I purchased some hidden cameras that shoot HD and are motion activated. Set up 7 of them in total. Kitchen, master bedroom, and bathroom, living room, both her studio and mine, and the indoor porch where the hot tub is. The cool thing about the cameras is that I can both record and watch the live stream on a mobile device if I want. So anyways, I set up the cameras and come that Monday hop on my flight to ATL and cross my fingers hoping I'm just sketching and that nothing will come of this. I was busy as hell the first few days, so I didn't have the time to check up on the videos, but on Wednesday I found some time and decided to see if the cameras had captured anything. Sure enough, they had. The kitchen camera was the first to be activated. The video revealed my wife walking into the kitchen with some guy who actually kind of looks like me. They are talking for a while, then start kissing passionately and feeling each other all over. After making their way into my bedroom and striping themselves of their cloths, my wife got on her knees and sucked this dude for a while. Once he had his oral fix, he spun her around and fucked her doggy. Her face was buried in my pillow. They proceeded to change positions and continue fucking in several different positions for about 20 minutes until she let him shoot in her mouth. She swallowed everything. During this time, I'm feeling a combination of everything you can feel: extreme rage, humiliation, sadness, confusion, betrayal, excitement. It was the strangest feeling in life. I couldn't tell if I wanted to beat this dude's face in while verbally abusing my wife so badly she would never be the same, or if I wanted to grab her and fuck her silly, treating her like the dirty little slut I was watching her be. Perhaps both. I passed out and slept hard. I was so emotionally overloaded I didn't know what to do. On the flight home the next day, I considered my options, and as I was pondering my future with her, I began to think back over the course of our whole relationship. I'm a fucking idiot. How did I not see this coming? I mean, this is the girl that cheated on her boyfriend with me back when we first met. This is the girl that blew my friend in the next room over from me the same time she's telling me how bad she wants me. I should have seen all this coming from tip-off. Once I got home and our son was asleep, I sat her down and told her everything I knew. I pulled up the videos and pointed out the cameras. She broke down and sobbed, telling me how sorry she was and that she didn't want to ruin everything we have over a stupid decision she made. So that's the situation I'm in. Our relationship right now is probably what you would expect. We sleep in different rooms and act civil around our son, but nothing is the same. I can no longer trust her, and I don't know if I will ever be able to. If it wasn't for our son, I would have been gone. Not really sure what to do now, but I'm thinking about seeing other women and just letting her do the same. We can stay married for our son, but we can also be involved with other people. I just can't take her seriously after all this shit. And the worst part is she spends so much of my money on the dumbest shit. New bags and shoes and jewelry. Like, how often do you need a new version and the same thing? I used to not mind, but now that our trust is broken, it just pisses me off. The next story you will hear will be about how two college students fell in love with each other and got married. But 6 years after their blissful union, the free-spirited couple changed their lives forever. Discover the heartbreaking story of infidelity, trust, and the heartbreaking discovery of HIV in this true story. I met my wife at 21 years of age in college. We both went to USF and graduated. We married in June 12th of 2001. Both of us was 25. I had Christian beliefs and she was an atheist, but despite our difference still, we were in love and happy. At age 30, we had a beautiful baby girl, and life couldn't get much better. We moved out of our apartment and bought a house. That's when things went totally wrong. Down the road was a couple who were free-spirited, nice people, and right away my neighbor's wife and mine got super close. My wife and I had a very open communication type of relationship. One day after we made love, she told me the neighbors were swingers. The wife wanted us to join. I said absolutely not. She was angry because I shot it down immediately without giving thought, and she didn't talk to me for 2 days. When we finally talked, I asked why. Was I that bad in bed? Did I not satisfy her? She said no. I was very good, but the thought of it seemed very exiting, and she wanted to experience things before she got old. I told her I was not going to do it, and if she wanted to stay married, she would end not only the thought, but the relationship between her and her friend. Through much thought, we both agreed. 6 months later, she said she was going to her sister's to visit. An hour after she left, her sister shows up to visit. She asked where Mai was at. I told her she went to see you. Her sister was confused because my wife knew she was out of town and just got home. My heart dropped, and I asked my sister-in-law to watch the baby. I had a suspicion and went to the neighbors down the block. I was praying the whole time, saying, please let me be wrong. As I got there, I saw lots of vehicles parked. I sneaked through the back door, and there I was in the middle of an orgy. It didn't take long before seeing my wife riding a guy while having a penis in her mouth. She looked at me, froze, and I just walked away. She followed me home crying, asking for forgiveness. After a month, we worked it out. I was destroyed and found it hard to trust her, but gave a shot. 3 months after, I get a call from the doctors to show up. When I arrived, the doctor walked me to the office, and sitting down was my wife crying on a nurse's shoulders like a baby. I was scared and asked what was going on. For those who live this lifestyle, the doctor told me she had the AIDS virus. I needed to be tested, he said. There was a list of people she had mentioned, and they were contacted so they could be tested. A week later, I got my result. I am positive. I cried and yelled at her. I almost beat her, but my dad was there to stop me. I told her to leave the house, and she did. Month later, she called. She apologized over and over. It wasn't helping me to stay mad, even though I wanted to kill her, literally. She was so destroyed, and we spoke almost every day. She was depressed, could never stop crying. She asked herself why she was so foolish. and even said when the orgy was over she felt empty. Skip the already long story to 2008. Her guilt and her shame was so bad she ended her life and left me a letter. The saddest letter ever. Now it's just my daughter and I. Think before you cheat.